fair use doctrine, we have to discuss something about the history part, in which country it was originated, what were the judgment that contributed to this, and how this was evolved into the doctrine. We all know that UK, the Copyright Act was introduced in 1911, and India also introduced the same kind of Copyright Act in 1911 during the British period, and immediately after 1911, that is during 1914, the UK government introduced the fair use dealing, they called fair dealing. In US it is called fair use doctrine, but in UK this is called fair dealing. So, the fair dealing doctrine was introduced in 1914 by the UK government, and it stated that copyright would not infringe on certain area. For example, any fair dealing with any work for the purpose of private study, research, criticism, review or newspaper summary. If you want to have a private study, or if you want to have a newspaper summary, or if you want to have a review paper, then that will not attract the infringement of the Copyright Act. That was called fair dealing in UK. And fair use aims to have a balance in copyright between various interest groups, promoting the diffusion of information without eliminating the incentives to create it. So, the incentives to the create it is the material benefit. Without compromising on that, how to make the balance, that is what the fair dealing doctrine of UK talks about. Fair use exemptions exist for the purpose of criticism and review. So, the reporting of current affairs and to support educational and archival services. If you want to promote the archival services, and nobody can call it the infringement of copyright. The fair use test of USA has demonstrated by 4-factor test. This test outlines the factors the court can consider to decide about whether it is a copyright material or a completely fair dealing material. So, that can be tested through the 4-factor test. Copyright protects the original fixed works by giving the copyright holder the exclusive right to reproduce, perform, display, distribute and create derivative works. So, it provides the power and provides the material benefit and lot of beneficiaries to the creators. Fair use is escape. On the other hand, if you look at the fair use, it is an escape clause from copyright's exclusive use of the protection. And in US, there is section called 107, and this is part of 1976 Copyright Act of the United States of America. It provides a legal framework. The clause 107, the section 107 of 1976 Copyright Act provides a legal framework to find out whether activities that may qualify as fair use. So, this clause 107 facilitate you to with a framework to find out whether this can come under the fair use with the following 4 factors. Factor number 1, purpose and the character of the use, including whether the use is of commercial nature or is a non-profit educational purposes. So, this is factor 1. According to this, the purpose and the character of the use. What is the purpose of the use? What is the character of the use? Whether this is being used for the purpose of advancing knowledge or to impart knowledge, what kind of purpose is behind this, and what are the character of the use. These 2 factors, according to the first factor, if you look at the 2 components, it will help you to understand the intention, the motive, the purpose of the particular use. And the courts can look at how the party claiming fair use is using the copyright work and are more likely to find that non-profit educational and non-commercial use as fair. In the factor 1 itself, they call something called transformative use. If there is something called transformative use of a product or a output, then that can be considered for the fair use. The transformative uses are those that could something new with a further purpose or a different character and do not substitute for the original use of the work. If you are using the same work that is in the original, then that will not be called transformative work. Transformative work should be something new, something advancement of the earlier one, then that can be called transformative work. All transformative works can get the exemption under this one. So, this is factor number 1. Factor 2 talks about nature of the copyrighted work. What is the nature of the copyrighted work? Using a more creative or imaginative work. For example, novel, poem, movie or a song, that is a original creative work and that cannot be easily compromised on that. And on the other hand, if you work on factual work, a tabulation of something, or if you compilation of something, or you get down some material from the public domain, then those kind of things can be compromised and that can be permitted for a fair use, but the original creative work cannot be easily permitted to take for granted. So, this is number 2, nature of the copyrighted work. And the third factor is about amount and sustainability of the portion of used in relation to the copyrighted work as a whole. Under this factor, courts look at both the quantity and quality of the copyright material that was used. So, the quantity and the quality of material is being used. This is the third factor, and the last and final factor will be something we will be discussing now. If the use includes a large portion of the copyrighted work, fair use is less likely to be found, and if the use implies only a small amount of copyright material, fair use is more likely. So, if you are copying more and more, then you can't seek the exemption under fair use, and if you have very little to copy, very little to make use of the original work, then the court can look at this in the name of fair use. And the fourth factor according to the 4-factor test is the effect of the use upon the potential market for value of the copyrighted work. The court will look out what position, what kind of amount, or what factor that you have been taken into account. To what extent the unlicensed use harms the existing or future market for the copyright owner's original work. And with these 4 factors, one can find out whether the things are being copied or that can harm or that can come under the fair use policy. And if you look, there is a checklist available for conducting a fair use analysis before using a copyrighted material. For example, in the educational institutions, in all universities or for colleges, if you want to use one copyright material for your academic or a creative work, then you need to have a tool for that, right. Not the 4-factor test we cannot conduct, or we cannot conduct a trial in a court of law. We can have a small checklist. One such list is available, developed by Cornell University, that is available online. Very simple tool is available. One can go and find out how simple a checklist can be developed, which can be used to find out whether the material is can be used for the creative work. So, the copyright using the copyrighted material for a creative work or for adaptation or for making use for educational purposes, one can use such kind of tools available. We can evolve or we can develop, we can customize our own tools, a kind of checklist for our own university or the institution with which we have been working. I have given the URL available in the screen. You can visit the URL and you can download the checklist and you can create your own checklist, so that you can find out whether any material that is being copyrighted can be used for educational purposes or for any kind of creative work.